Greetings everyone, House here. Welcome back. We're gonna have another discussion about this most recent update now that we've given it some time to settle in, to soak in, to percolate. I just wanted to follow up with everyone and see how we're feeling, give you some of my thoughts on everything. For this video, I'm gonna be doing it a little off the cuff. I'm not in my usual recording setup, so hopefully it sounds okay. In the background, you will notice there is some Johnny footage. The detail-oriented among you will recognize that it is the footage from my game where I got the Johnny 3-piece that I posted before the patch update. We're using that footage in memoriam, I guess you could say. If you don't know why, you will soon. We'll get into that in a moment though. But right off the top, I wanted to say that I am going to be talking about the good, the bad, the ugly, everything in between with this video. Just because I have some criticism does not mean I hate the game. I apparently need to state that I'm not trying to take it down or kill the game. I am, however, flattered you think that I have that kind of pull as a channel with just over 300 subs, but I assure you that is not my goal. I want to be able to have discussion about all aspects of this game, because this is how we as a community get conversations started. I love to hear everyone's point of view, and as long as we're being chill and being respectful in the comments, I welcome everybody's opinion on my videos. Now let's dig into the topics at hand. Nancy's house, the new map. I gotta say, still getting used to it, but it is fun. The house portion itself seems a little pointless, at least on family side. I feel like the best way to navigate that is just to abandon the house completely. You can watch the exits, but really everything of importance is outside the house. One thing I have noticed with the new map is it seems like it is a complete pub stomp one way or the other every single time I've played on it. Either the family completely decimates the victims or the victims escape within like 2 minutes. I'm chalking that up to a lot of people still getting used to the map. However, it does seem like if you have a well-coordinated team on either side, it is really hard for people to deal with that as a solo queue player. So do keep that in mind. We've got some growing pains. I expect it'll get better with time, but I did think it was worth noting. On the characters, as you know, as of right now, I have only played family side, so I can only speak to personal experience with Nancy, but I will talk a little bit about Danny as well. Nancy seems to be pretty fun. She's very strong. I think that we can all agree with that, especially when you get the clear sight upgrade for your vision, for keep seeing through the victim's eyes. Having that clear sight upgrade, it is so much clearer than I expected it to be. When I was reading her perks, I was like, oh, it'll clear things up a little bit. You'll be able to see a little bit better, maybe a flash of clearer vision. Nah, it is just a clear window. You can see exactly what they're seeing. So I didn't expect that. I don't know why you would pick either of the other like tier 3 perks for her special ability. If anybody has a good argument as to why they would choose that, feel free to let me know. But it just seems like the clear vision is the clear winner. Some of her perks are pretty interesting. Some of them are kind of more focused on her traps, which is a great utility she has, but I think focusing on her traps is a big trap in and of itself, to be honest with you. I think that some of her perks you can add to the traps with that utility, but the big things you want to focus on are making Nancy herself stronger. You can make her faster with Scout, or the big one I've been seeing and the one I've been kind of experimenting with myself after seeing some people use it is Poison Claws. Poison Claws, if you're not familiar, gives a poison damage to Nancy's attacks. The crazy thing is it's up to 15 seconds of poison damage at tier 3 once you have it all the way leveled up. So it's like, I don't know how that got in the game, how they thought that would be balanced, if they were just like, forget it. It's a little chalked, if you ask me, because that is a lot of residual damage. I expect we'll see that dialed back in the future. Hopefully this isn't a situation where the developers will release a character that is blatantly broken and hope that people will buy it and then dial it back later. I'm gonna give them the benefit of the doubt and say that's not the case, but that's where the paranoid conspiracy theorist in me goes. But yeah, overall, I think she's fun. I think there's some arguments to be made that maybe she is too strong right now. but we'll see where she kind of lands once the meta settles, once people get more familiar with facing her. A lot is still up in the air at the moment. Danny is a strong boy, I will say. Danny is a very strong boy. I feel like a lot of times people are complaining about his ability, and a lot of people that I've played against are either really, really good with him, have him all the way leveled up, and are very, very effective, or they have no idea what they're doing. It's clear that they just got the character, they're trying to get familiar with him. I will say, personally, I haven't lost to him yet where I didn't feel like I dropped the ball in terms of patrolling certain objectives or letting him into specific areas. That said, if you have a coordinated team on the victim side and you're kind of ushering him around and providing security, or you're providing him with distractions on the other side of the map, he is super, super strong. He can completely dominate. He can open up a specific exit with his ability after he studies it. So it is super good. I know a lot of people say it is a little too strong, but that hasn't been my personal experience yet. So we'll see as, again, more people get comfortable playing against him. A lot of people get better with the new map and patrol routes and making sure that we're keeping an eye on objectives and not just solely hunting people down. I expect to see a lot of changes coming to the meta in the near future. Again, I hope this isn't a situation where he is strong because people have to pay $10 for him. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt on that, but it is at least worth mentioning, I'd say. Next on our list of major changes, Bubba is out. No longer required to start matches. I've seen a lot of games where Bubba isn't there, no Leatherface at all. A lot of games where I am surprised to see Leatherface, actually, now that I think about it. First couple of days, I was expecting not to see any Leatherface, but a majority of my games still had a Leatherface. They still had Bubba, so it seems like not having to pick him every single time is actually encouraging people to pick him, because they're not feeling like they're forced to pick him. So that is something we discussed before this change was announced and enacted, so it's nice to see that. What's not nice to see is that it appears that his overhead slam is bugged. It looks like when you do your overhead slam, it's a near instantaneous overheat of the chainsaw. If you start to swing after you do the slam, it's gonna overheat instantly. So you kind of have to rev the chainsaw a little bit after an overhead slam before you go back to normal swinging. A lot of people are calling this a bug. Some people are saying it's not a bug and it's a stealth nerf to the overhead slam for Leatherface, because it is very strong. It can one-hit kill people. So it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell right now. What I will say is that if it is a nerf, that's okay, because it is a very strong ability. A lot of people had issues with Leatherface doing that one-hit kill. If they want to explore nerfing that, that's totally fine. That's totally doable. What I have an issue with is the fact that if it is a nerf, it was not announced anywhere. It wasn't put in any patch notes. It wasn't discussed on any of the developer live streams that I saw. I don't think it was mentioned at all on Twitter or anything like that, or on the official Reddit or anything like that. So that's where I begin to have issue personally as a player, is if we're doing things, we're changing things, that's fine. If you're changing things and not telling us, that feels a little weird. That feels a little icky. Hopefully we can get some confirmation one way or the other. Yes, this is a bug, we're looking into it. Yes, this is a change we wanted to make. We're testing it out, we're still hearing your feedback. Either way, some clarification is gonna go a long way in this situation, I think, personally. And then the final big change, the reason we've got the footage we do in the background of this video. Johnny. Oh boy, Johnny. For those of you not in the know, Johnny has been kind of neutered completely. They made some changes so that his attacks no longer have the same lunge to them that was kind of his signature. It was kind of how he differentiated himself from the other characters in the beginning. Could be abused for faster movement, so I understand they needed to change it or address it. But now it feels like you kind of have to be right on top of the victim to even swing and hit them. So that feels a little weird. It feels a little too close, in my opinion. I feel like I have to be even closer than Cook does, and he just has a broken off broom handle. He's a little old man in some khakis, waddling around. If anybody should have some range to him, it should probably be somebody who's younger, spry. Johnny kind of brands himself as this like apex predator, so the fact that he can't really move around very well is a little weird to me. The other change that is difficult for him is the change to his tracking. It's a lot harder for him now to follow the tracks of victims. They have different ways of evading that. On top of that, when you get that notification that Johnny's tracking you, you probably don't care. All you have to do is outrun him or just keep a couple paces away from him, and he won't be able to hit you. So there's no real fear there. Like I said, Johnny's supposed to be the kind of this apex predator, like the perfect killing machine. He was raised by Nancy to be this like supreme serial killer specimen. The fact that he can't really hunt people down and he doesn't feel like a threat feels bad, man. feels really bad. Not that I've ever been the greatest with Johnny, but after the last few games I was playing with him to get the footage you're seeing right now, I started to kind of like the guy. And now there's no point in me even trying to play him until something changes. I feel like Gunn needs to really decide what they want Johnny to be. He feels a little confused right now. Like, is he this super serial killer, or is he just kind of a guy who's hanging out? Can he really hunt down the victims, or what's his identity gonna be? If it needs to be changed, we need to change it. If it needs to lean harder into the hunting and tracking, maybe we take some things from other areas. Right now, it just feels like a weird gray area where he can't do anything well. Kind of a jack of all trades situation, jack of all trades, but master of none. But he's not really even a jack of all trades. He's just kind of dabbling in everything and not really going anywhere. Kind of like a 6th-year college student, I'd say. If we want to talk a little bit more about conspiracy theories, my big conspiracy theory with this is that they intentionally nerfed him into the ground so that they can resurrect him with a major buff right before Shirtless Johnny comes out. That's kind of where I see this going. Oh, hey, we've heard your feedback. We made a bunch of changes. He's actually great now. Go ahead and play him. And by the way, here's the skin you can buy. Again, conspiracy theory me. Kind of just semi-joking, but, it could happen. So those are my thoughts on the major things from this patch after giving it a little time to settle. What do you guys think? Do you have any major thoughts about Johnny? Any thoughts about Nancy or Danny? How do you feel about the new map? What the heck's going on with Leatherface? Do you even use him anymore? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments below. Let's go ahead and get some discussion started here. And while you're down there, if you do have some time, feel free to like and subscribe the video. It really helps get this video out to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre community, which is going to help increase this video's reach so that we have more people in on the conversation. That's the goal here at the end of the day, just to get everybody talking about this game that we enjoy, we love, and that I'm not trying to sabotage by putting out some fair criticism, in my opinion. I don't know. Let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope you have a good rest of your day, a good night, and good luck.